just moved back. I've been in Arkansas the last 3 years.
I drove through there twice.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I was just in
We're just going to take over this podcast.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a drink of my beer. I'm good.
I'm all set. No, we're good. No, thank you guys for having me, really.
Hey, guess what? So you know that whole thing where we were supposed to start about 2 minutes ago, and I did the whole intro thing, and I was supposed to press like start the broadcast. Well, I didn't do that. So
I see it's live now.
Now we start. That's great.
Well, at least now we have a viewer. We'll start it up again. Sorry. So start with the phony introductions. It's going great.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Welcome.
This is what happens when you drink, folks. This is what happens when you drink.
I know. Yeah, I shouldn't have started. This isn't going to end well. Welcome in, though. Welcome in. I already previously recorded an intro, and now I'm doing a second one, so I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm just going to say, hey, it's ladies' night, and I'm happy to have everyone here. Lorna, I already introduced you partially, but I'll introduce you again. Welcome in.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm coming in from Boston right now, so looking forward to chatting with you guys about football.
I liked the other intro more now. Can we just restart and let's just start. Okay. Welcome. I'm just kidding.
You said something about foo-foo pumpkin spice latte and all that shit.
Oh yeah, basic ass.
Yeah, don't
We're better than foo-foo pumpkin spice latte. That's what it is.
Right.
What y'all are not, basically. Yeah, basically. And Katie Flower, welcome in.
Well, thank you. I am live from New Haven, Connecticut, and I have to admit, Gabe, that last night I was out at a local restaurant with our clients, and I did have a foo-foo drink. I couldn't resist. It was called a cannoli martini.
Ooh.
And
okay,
oh my goodness, it was
delicious.
so good. Yeah, it was 3 Olives cake vodka with some Baileys and some white chocolate Godiva liqueur, and it had a cookie crumb rim. And oh my God, I had to, when I saw that, how can you say no to a cannoli martini?
I mean,
you've gone to the dark side.
Sounds like the best thing that Connecticut's ever produced, because UConn's definitely not up there.
That's true. And neither is Yale or any of the, ivy-covered colleges.
Yale's okay, I guess.
So thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I think I'm going to retract everything I just said about basic drinks and foo-foo drinks, whatever, because like cannoli martini, are you kidding me? I didn't even know that could be in liquid form. So
right?
I'm all in. Who did? I apologize to anyone out there drinking foo-foo drinks right now. I'm gonna go ladies first here, J Mike. So you just wait your turn, pal. All right.
Chilling.
Jen from TFA. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing awesome. I can't wait to combine two of my favorite things: beer drinking and talking football. So I'm excited to be here. So thanks for the invite. I just think we're gonna have a good time. So I'm always down for that.
That's what it's all about. We're probably going to have you shotgun a Bud Light by the end of the show. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's been a while since I did that, but I think I'm down. I think we could do it.
Perfect.
Katie can
Jen's
swing a cannoli martini. I can do a shotgun of a beer.
Jen's like, whatever. I'm all in. The bar is open, and I am all in.
I have seen some crazy videos about people like popping because you have to hit the hole to shotgun the beer. I've seen some crazy videos of people doing it and like overdoing it with like a machete. My buddy back in Montana did it with one end of a PVC pipe. It just looked like a spear, and he was just like it was nuts. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but setting the bar high, the open bar high, that is.
Yeah. We'll just see where it goes.
Right.
I'm down.
All right. J Mike, welcome in, my co-host, my main man. How are you doing tonight, my man?
Feeling fantastic, man. Appreciate you asking. It has been another fun-filled Wednesday, but I am here at the Open Bar. It is ladies' night, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Did you just say opium bar?
I did not say opium.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Open.
I had no poppy seed muffins earlier today. I have no opium in my bloodstream. Mea culpa on that.
Well, we've kind of seen what everyone was drinking all around as far as putting them up to their lips. J Mike, you got anything for us tonight, or you are Blue Dolphin DD?
No DD tonight. I'm switching. Well, not switching. I'm going back to an old favorite, Not Your Father's root beer. It's pretty tasty stuff. Pretty chill.
Hey.
Now, what's that local to? Where you get that?
Well, I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, so I don't think it's local to.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'm not from here, but I do reside, so.
That's how I feel about Boston.
Yes.
Anytime someone goes, "Oh, you're from Boston," I say,
like,
"No,
no.
Be careful. Be careful.
I live in Boston."
I like that stuff, man. I like that. Not Your Father's root
Yeah,
beer.
it's from Wisconsin. FYI.
Okay. I'll have to look that up when I'm in that area.
It's pretty legit.
I'm pretty sure that's definitely a Northeast thing because I think I've seen that in grocery stores around here. So,
Okay. Lorna, your background, I want to because it looks like green screen. I want to just put something behind it. Or something because it looks
you
like
can chroma key any background on the back of that. You can put, some traffic behind her.
No,
all the
like a football field or something back there. Yeah, I just drove in from Dallas. I finished my road trip back yesterday, and I'm staying at a friend's house while I'm waiting for my apartment to get ready to move in. And she's got these great yellow walls, but I can see it on the screen. It does look green. So yeah, just put a football field behind me, and I'm in my element.
So you got 88, Dez Bryant right behind you, and he's about ready to receive a pass from Dak. How about that?
Okay, so funny story, fun fact. Dez Bryant is my favorite current player. I just think he just exudes passion for the sport the way that I feel it but cannot play it. So I love Dez. I have been to 5 Cowboys games now, and I have never seen Dez play live. He either wasn't drafted yet, was injured. I went to a Week 17 game where none of the starters played. And then on Saturday, during the preseason game, during his only time on the field when he caught a touchdown, my friend that I brought had to use the bathroom. So we were in the restroom as Dez was scoring, and they didn't take the field again. And I thought, wow, I'm literally never going to see this guy actually play on a football field with my own 2 eyes. And I just put that behind me right now is the closest I think.
I thought that story was going to veer the other way, that it was going to be the best experience ever.
Oh, yeah, that was all I wanted. I said that. I said, all I want is to see, I want to see a Dez touchdown. I've been a fan 5 ever, and I've yet to see the man play live, and that's all I want. And I mean, he did it, thank the football gods, but I didn't see it.
Well, here's my fun fact. I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan and a New England Patriots fan my entire life. I'm from New England, but they didn't have the Patriots games broadcast on television. I grew up in the 70s when the Cowboys were plastered all over. They were America's team. The only Super Bowl I've ever been to was Cowboys against the Bills, 1994. They won in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. I've met 2 of the 88s. I've met Drew Pearson and I've met Michael Irvin. When I moved to Texas and when I moved to Dallas 12 years ago, I've met them both. In fact, Drew Pearson let me wear a Super Bowl ring at my 50th birthday party. He was at my 50th birthday party. And so I have seen Dez play live, and I have thrown and caught touchdown passes at the old Texas Stadium before they tore it down.
That is pretty impressive. That's
my fun fact about the Cowboys.
I met Dez. I had pregame field passes at the last game I was at, and he came up and took a picture with me, but didn't take the field because he was injured. And I'm like, I got to be honest, I love you, but the picture is great. I want to see a touchdown. I want to see some Dez action. I love you, but outside of your pad and helmets, it's not the same effect. Want to see you out there doing things for my team, but it's okay. That is awesome, though. Drew Pearson is wonderful. I got to meet him.
He is amazing.
Doing my work with the NFFC this summer down there. He was great.
I'm glad that story kind of went positive for a while, because we were all just like, no, like everything like did not go your way, and that at least
it's okay. There's going to be many other football games, many other touchdowns, and all right.
Sure. Let's talk about that. Are there going to be a lot of touchdowns for Dez this season? Are there going to be a lot of touchdowns for Dak this season? I mean, they're going to have to depend on him a little bit more with Zeke out potentially 6 games. That's kind of how we have to consider it right now. But you really got to put some pressure on Dak to see what he's got.
I mean, the nice thing about Dak and about the way this offense has been structured since that preseason game where he's come in is he's got so many weapons. Dez doesn't need to be his only target, and he's got Cole Beasley. I'm really excited to see how we utilize Ryan Switzer beyond special teams. He's got Beasley, he's got Witten. Rico Gathers has been really showing up in preseason. Bryce
Rico
is impressing me quite a bit. So comparative to last season, because I was not the biggest Bryce Butler fan, but he's really been showing up. So I think there's going to be plenty of Dak touchdowns, but with all the other receiving weapons that he's got at his disposal and in his arsenal, I don't see why every single target is going to be to Dez, but as long as Dez is on the field, he's going to be scoring. That's for sure.
And let's don't discount Darren McFadden. I think that he will do fine with that offensive line. He as long as he stays healthy, and then you've still got Alfred Morris, you've got running back by committee, they can handle until Zeke gets back. And that's if he really does stay suspended the 6 games. I have no worries at all about the Cowboys scoring touchdowns. I think Dak is ready to step up in year 2. I got to see a lot of his games because he played in the SEC. I'm a Razorback fan, as some of you already know. Woo Pig and Darren McFadden, where did he go to school? Oh, yeah, that's right. Arkansas. So we got the connection going, and I have every faith that Dak will step up and have a great sophomore year.
Yeah, but Katie, Rod Smith.
Yeah. Is that all you got?
You didn't even get a word, just a
Yeah.
wow, and a drink. She took a shot.
That's all I deserved, really, to be honest. I've seen a lot of hype around him and a lot of PFF stuff talking about how efficient he is and things of that nature. So I had to throw in the rods.
That's great. I think the Smith that you need to worry about is Jaylon Smith, and he's the one that's going to be making tackles and making a name for himself. I was very excited to see him back on the field.
You don't have to be a Cowboys fan. You don't have to be a Notre Dame fan, but I don't think you're a true fan of the sport of football and what this game is all about if you were not at least excited for the fact that that young man hit the field after as long as he's been out, when doctors said he might not ever jog again, and he made that tackle. And that to me is just, it was so exciting to be there. I got to see that. I did get to see that. That was and I've met Jaylon before, and I could not describe to you a nicer, more well-spoken, charming young man. It was just, you can't help but not want to support him if you've ever met him, and if you haven't met him, just to support his story. They said he might not ever walk again, let alone play football, and there he is making tackles in the NFL. I just think that's something to definitely get behind and drink to, for sure.
I agree. Here's a drink to Jaylon Smith.
To Jaylon Smith. I agree, man. He was so fired up after that tackle too, just stomping through to the end zone, man. Oh, it was cool to see, for sure. I'm with you on that.
Have you ever had to give up something that you love for about a year and a half and not be able to do it and be told that you may never even do it? I mean, it's just, you're right. It's incredible.
Yep.
Well, I'll transition and tell you a story about how that almost happened. So my anniversary was just a couple weeks ago, and we played a little game. So I had J-Mac, come on, just let me.
Do you, man? Do you? It's your story, your show. I'm here.
Okay, so we have a dartboard, right? And I put down little gifts around the dartboard, and she had to just throw 3 darts, and that would be her gifts, right? One of them, if it just landed in the single score, then it was to give up fantasy football for a week. And then if she got a double, then it was for a month. And oh my goodness, I can't believe I did it. But I said if it was going to be a triple, it'd be out for a year. So it could have happened.
It could have, but I wouldn't have done darts, and I wouldn't have done a dartboard. You really could have made that a lot more inventive of a game, like horseshoes or ring toss.
Yeah, I was playing it way too safe. I think we'll have to switch it up next year.
What'd she end up landing on?
Mike.
Nobody else curious about that?
I know, right? And she, well, no. Wait, he
ended up losing.
She landed on that. She did. She landed on that. She landed on the single though, and she was like, "Oh man," she's like, "I can't believe you actually put for a year on here." And but she didn't land on it. And then I said, "Okay, you can trade in one if you want." And then so the other one was like deep sea fishing and a massage. And then she traded in the fantasy football one. She's like, it's just a week, whatever. So she traded it in. It wasn't good enough.
She traded it in for a massage?
Yeah. Yep.
Not a bad trade.
It's not a bad trade.
Agreed.
We better put that up on FF Dynasty Trades Twitter poll. See.
Yeah. Do you want what's behind door number 1, or would you trade that for what's behind door number 2?
All right, so football. Sorry, back to football because this is a football podcast and whatever.
Right.
But
And
it
beer.
is a bar, and we
beer.
talk about
Football and alcohol.
Exactly. Yep, football.
Priorities.
Preseason. So I know it's all about kind of showing. Jen, you kind of mentioned that it's all just showing what rookies can kind of do, but and it really seems like someone had something positive to say about some rookie somewhere. It is for anyone here. And we can start with you, Jen. Was there anyone that just kind of big and you were kind of impressed and you moved him up your board, and it doesn't have to be a rookie necessarily, but there was a lot of football and a lot of good plays happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was like out of left field, but Dalvin Cook really impressed me. I don't know if it moved him up too much just because I already had him at a pretty decent ranking because I really think he's got opportunity out there, but I think he showed everybody what he can do. And so I think we're all looking at that in general. Kamara has already been mentioned, and I really liked that because I was watching the Saints backfield in general just to see how that would shake out. I'm an Ingram fan. And I think he's fallen down. His ADP has fallen down the draft boards, and he's going to be a steal. And so I really want to see how that backfield kind of shakes out. So to see Kamara come out and, do really well in kind of a Sproles type of role and see that they have that there just makes me wonder how this is all going to go down. And I'm excited to see when season starts how they're going to use all their weapons in that backfield. So those are 2 just off the top of my head that were exciting to watch, and that I think we were all kind of seeing how it was going to play out, and that we don't want to put crazy stock, of course, in preseason, but I think we got to see what they can do, which is exactly what we want to see.
The other thing I'd like to mention about Kamara, we talk about the Darren Sproles role, but he's not a little tiny guy. He's
Right.
223 pounds and he's a 6 foot tall. He's a big guy. He can run between the tackles. He can bruise people as well as he's a great receiver. So he could potentially take over, and they don't like Mark Ingram for whatever the reason. Look at what they gave for Tim Hightower in his resurgence. I mean, they are finding every excuse not to give the guy carries. So we'll see.
If we sit on the Saints backfield for a second, if you're owning any of them at their current ADP, and we'll say 12-team PPR for the sake of argument, which guy are you taking?
You're talking about for redraft season long?
Yeah, we'll take just for this season coming up. We got Adrian Peterson going at running back number 22. We've got Mark Ingram going at running back 27, which is about 509. And where is good old
He's
Kamara?
like round 20. I will take Kamara all day. Thank you.
Running back 61.
Yeah, he's like
round, yeah.
I've done some redraft drafts, and I can get him as my last player right before my kicker and my defense. And I will take him over those guys at their ADP.
Yeah, kind of interesting that they're both that Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are going in the 6th round, and kind of both expected to be, top 24 backs according to their ADP. It's pretty tough to do historically. I mean, there's only a few times that has happened. Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman last year. I think Matt Forte and Bilal Powell were actually pretty close, but and then to add in Kamara, like those two guys, those two previously mentioned pairs didn't have anyone to worry about in the receiving game like Kamara. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That seems like a reach for both of those guys, really, as long as Kamara is present.
And Kamara runs with so much more power than he gets credit for, too. That's the thing that bothered me. At Tennessee, I just remember watching him over and over just plow into people. And like you were saying, Katie, I feel like he keeps getting put in this place like Sproles, like some little 5'8", 200-pound guy, and he's not that at all, even though he has the skills to be able to catch the ball. So for the price, I feel like the upside is huge. I just worry about the fact that if I take anybody from the Saints backfield, I don't want it to be a case where I'm disappointed because there's so much being split between the three of them. You never know when someone's going to pop, similar to New England the past years and such. So that'll be interesting to watch through the year.
But one last point to that, and then I'll let Jen and Lorna. I'm not trying to take up all the conversation, but you got Alvin Kamara in round 18, 19, or 20. The investment is so small. You're going to have somebody like a David Johnson or a Zeke or LaShawn McCoy or somebody as your 1 and 2 running backs. You're probably not even going to start Kamara even in the flex spot unless Ingram or Peterson goes down. And once they're injured, one of those guys gets injured, Kamara is it, man. So for that price to get that good of a runner that you will be able to depend on, and when do you want him? Second half of the season, into the playoffs? I think that's very potential as an outcome.
Yeah. Well, Fantasy Football Calculator has him going. Kamara has him going in the 13th round, and that's right around like Gio and Mack and Smallwood and Foreman. So, I mean, out of that group, I don't know how that's even a contest. I think you're going to take it on Kamara. I personally, I mean, just looking at ADP and Mark Ingram, I don't mind taking a chance on him in the 5th because I'm looking at Abdullah where, yeah, he's going to be the guy that they're leaning on in Detroit, they're saying, in the running, but they've just never been a heavy running team. And they've said that before. And so there's questions around him. There's questions around, I think AP's going right around the same place, right? And then you got Doug Martin, who's out for the first 3 games. You got Gillisley, which roles they're going to have up there and who's going to get the rock. But that might be the one that I would weigh a little bit. But Mark Ingram is just, even when they've hated him, he's still gone in there. It's almost like it fires him up more. So I'm still willing to take a chance on him. So I'd still go with him.
Well, I have to admit, I'm a little bit behind in preparing for fantasy this year because so I went to Dallas to work for the National Fantasy Football Convention, and that was, wildly time consuming, but worth every second I spent on it, of course. As soon as that was over, I had to go back into law student mode and prepare for the MPRE exam that I just took 2 weeks ago. And then I come back here and I start school. So I've been unfortunately having to prioritize law school, which just sucks, over football. But one thing that I've tried to do is at least I've tried to keep up with the news and, the tweets and everything that's been coming out on this rookie class, because back in March, I had the opportunity to go to the combine as a media person. And that was the first time I'd ever attended an NFL combine. That was the first time I'd ever gotten that up close and personal, with an emerging rookie class. And there were quite a few players that I took special note of that I've really been interested in seeing how they do. And one that's quite surprised me based on what I observed at the combine was
I want to know so badly now.
Such suspense right now. I don't think
like,
she could have timed that any better. It was
my God.
I bet you she's going to say Kenny Golladay, because he's 6'4", 218 pounds. He's fast. He can catch. He's going to start for the Lions as a wide receiver 3. That's who she's going to say.
Golladay. Yeah.
I am so with you. I watched.
I mean, Jones for him.
I like watching the Gauntlet the most, and I saw him in the Gauntlet.
Yes,
I was always looking for Chris Godwin.
Smooth.
Yeah. Right. I was waiting for Chris Godwin, and then, Golladay, Godwin, they were right next to each other. And I was like, okay, hold on. Godwin, like, he looks okay, but who's this Golladay dude? Because he looks clean. He's just running a straight line, catching it with ease. Like, he looked really good. I don't know. I like seeing that Gauntlet. I feel like you can really show off some skills and just give a good first impression, at least.
Absolutely. I first noticed Kenny Golladay in Devy. I do a lot of Devy, where you're scouting the guys while they're still in college. You pick them up, and if they make the NFL, they're on your team. So I have plenty of shares of him. The biggest knock I had on him was his size. He was a spindle. He was 6'4", and at that time he was under 200 pounds. And to me, I knew he had to put on some weight and some muscle and some mass, and he did. And when he showed up at the combine at 6'4", 218, I was super, super impressed. Welcome back, Lorna.
Wait,
yeah, we watched it.
With?
Yeah. That was so funny.
You just left us in suspense.
We were trying to predict who you were going to say.
Biggest cliffhanger.
Wait. You don't know who I said. Who did I say? Who
I
did
know.
I said?
We said Kenny Golladay.
Yeah.
Riddick?
Oh.
What were we talking about?
All right. Is it?
No, Fournette.
Oh,
okay.
Oh.
Leonard Fournette.
Got it.
Well, we were way off. It wasn't even the same position.
Hold on.
right.
Yeah,
It was why. Hold on. That was wow, wildly disappointing. Okay, let's try again.
Oh, that was amazing.
DJ, bring it back. The reason why, I apologize if I repeat myself, I'm not really sure where we got lost, but the reason why I was surprised with how well Fournette's projected for this rookie class is because during his combine interview with the media, he said he didn't grow up watching football. He didn't grow up caring about a team, about a player. And that sparked a discussion amongst some of us after the fact, how much does passion play into football? And for someone like me who lives, breathes, and dies football, I'm passionate about it, but is every single player that puts on the uniform? No, they're not. And I think for a player like Fournette, he just knows he's really good at it. And he's got a daughter, he's got a family, and this is an excellent opportunity for him to provide. So it was interesting to me. I've never before seen such a talented football player sit there and say, yeah, no, didn't grow up caring that much. So I was really interested to see how that was going to translate once he hit the pros. But my God, he's really been impressing people. Been a pleasant surprise for me. A couple other players that I really paid attention to at the combine, John Ross, of course. I don't know that Cincinnati is going to be the ideal environment for him to put that, incredible speed to work. And of course, the Cowboys picks, Taco Charlton. I love him to death. The nicest guy ever. Like, would totally love to see him do well. Hoping that he will. Haven't seen the explosiveness and the speed off the snap that I think we really need for the pass rush that desperately craving.
Love it. Hot analysis. And you make me feel you actually, excuse me, you make J Mike and myself feel better as your home. I can't even think of the word, the whatever Jaguars fans, because we're hurting. We're really hurting.
You're both Jag fans?
Yes.
I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm watching you guys. You guys got our wide receiver Ahmed Itawa for weeks. He led the entire NCAA in receiving yards. So,
I saw him down at the Senior Bowl. He was nothing. Absolutely, man. The guy didn't. He would line up on the wrong side, and the coach would have to tell him to move over to the. I mean, every time, like, do you really not get it that much? I mean, he was just that bad. But who I did see at the Senior Bowl, and who I'm very excited about, and he is being overdrafted, but even still, everything is lining up for him. Zay Jones in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him. That kid is just under 6'2", but he's got a wingspan of about 6'4". The kid has a great catch radius. He's fast. He's athletic. He comes from an athletic family. His father played for the Cowboys, Robert Jones, and he's a nice kid. I got to interview him. Great, very well spoken, nice guy, and a hard worker. He and Cooper Kupp were the two all-stars at the Senior Bowl during that week of practice and the game as well. And I think he can work on the outside. They didn't play him much at ECU on the outside. They played him in the slot. A lot of people think, well, he just racked up all those yards because of all the targets and opportunity. But he can play. I fully believe that he can transition and play, on the outside.
Now, Katie, I'm so glad you brought that up, because the talk all week, I feel like, at least since the Sammy Watkins trades and whatnot, is what exactly
and Anquan Bolden retiring.
Jordan
Just drop the mic and walk off.
Yeah. It's like, dude, like screw this. I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. So
he was done.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because obviously it all signs point to the fact that it looks like Tyrod Taylor is being hung out to dry in a major way. So with that being said, do you still feel good about Zay Jones, even if it's Peterman that comes in sometime mid-season, week 6, 7, whenever, if they don't start off all that well? Do you still like Zay Jones' opportunity with a guy like Peterman at quarterback?
And let me just make sure that you guys understand my background. I write for UTH Under the Helmet. I also am on their weekly podcast. We are a dynasty site. So for dynasty, yes, I still believe in Zay Jones. Do I think that he's going to be an impactful rookie? I think that he has that opportunity and that chance. Nate Peterman was one of his quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. And he's more of a zip code type, throw the ball to an area and you got to have a wicked catch radius to catch it. That actually kind of matches what Zay Jones can do. There were some times where he put him out of the end zone on a beautiful stretch play, and it wasn't a touchdown because of it. So, yeah, you're going to have some of that. He's going to be up and down like any rookie normally would, but I can attest that he is a very hardworking guy. And if you're playing in Dynasty, right now his price is high. You want to wait until he gets a low and buy him low and keep him on your team.
Very nice.
Yeah, and redraft right now, he's at the end of the 11th round, so you're not really spending much on him at all. If you think he has any upside.
I would take a shot on him in an MFL 10, for example, where you just best ball. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got heavy shares of Zay Jones in best ball right now. Absolutely.
How does you guys feel about OJ Howard, the tight end out of Alabama, to the Bucks? Because I gotta say, he was the guy that he was what we call he was my pet cat. Like if I could have had my pick, my special one that I would say yes, I want him. It was OJ Howard, because I think first of all he's fast AF, but he's huge. He's huge. I feel like he could be the perfect hybrid of that old school blocking tight end and the new school receiving fast tight end, like a great hybrid between, I'm biased, but a Witten and a Gronk. And I can never, I know Katie, you're going to feel one way or another about what I'm about to say. But coming from that Nick Saban SEC, football philosophy, I can't not believe he's got really good home training, as they would say. And I feel like he could be really, really good. What do you guys think about Howard?
I'll let everybody else respond, and then I'll be last.
Okay.
I'm all right with Howard. I like him as a player for sure. I don't necessarily think he landed in the greatest spot, and especially how they're kind of coming out and saying what he's going to be doing and learning how to block a little bit. And Brate's going to be catching all the Side note, I feel so bad for Cameron Brate because I loved him last year and he really bailed Jameis Winston out a lot. He made some great catches. He has some good hands. And I've been even seeing him do the same thing in Hard Knocks this year. But aside from that, they got Godwin, they got D-Jax, they've got Mike Evans, they've got decent pass receiving.
They did end up with Godwin. You're right. Sorry, keep going. No
worries. And so there's a lot of targets to go around. I think he's absolutely talented. Is it going to be an offense that can, take like the Saints and like, I guess, I don't know, the Patriots maybe, but they don't really have a beneficial receiver besides, Gronk and then whoever seems to be trending that year at wide receiver. But I don't know. I think the most beneficial person in that offense is Jameis Winston, and everyone else just kind of decreases a little. I like OJ Howard though as the player for sure. Better for the team rather than fantasy for me.
Fair enough.
Anybody else want to weigh in? Going once? Go ahead, Jen.
I'm just sticking to fantasy that I don't think he has a lot of value right now. I think Brate's the guy for tight end. I don't know how much they're going to be able to use him. He seems like a good player from what I've seen. I don't have extensive knowledge of him, but as far as fantasy goes, I don't know if I wouldn't roster him at this point. But I mean, dynasty and that sort of thing. I mean,
the perfect recipe for fantasy relevance at the tight end position, as J. Mike was alluding to, is you don't have an outstanding wide receiver. You may have a younger quarterback, somebody that will rely on the tight end to bail them out considerably. Jameis Winston in year 3, I'm really looking forward to him as being a top 5 quarterback this year. And he's got all the weapons. Yes, I said it. He's got all the weapons around him to do it. And I think that OJ Howard slips into irrelevance in the fantasy football aspect of it because they are going to use him as a blocker. Alabama didn't even use him much. He had a couple of good Clemson games, and that's it. Yeah, it's like, well, why didn't they use him? Well, because they had good running backs. They also had decent wide receivers. But that's going to be the same type of thing with Tampa Bay. They've got great wide receivers. They've got one of the biggest stud wide receivers in the NFL right now in Mike Evans. You got Chris Godwin, one of the best contested catching college receivers coming out last year. The guy that I'm looking forward to this year, and I will name it right now, is Adam Shaheen. He played D2, but man, that kid with Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback in the Bears in Chicago, they're going to grow up together. They are going to be best friends. They don't have that impactful wide receiver one. Sorry, Cameron Meredith. Sorry, Kevin White. You guys may end up being okay, but that's the perfect recipe. And he's a big guy. He's fast AF. And
is that what we say? Is that the filter?
That's the new filter.
Right? All over this thing. Okay.
We're going to AF all over this thing.
That's how we
Adam, you can write it down now. David Njoku, I love him, but he's already banged up. And Njoku has another perfect opportunity there in Cleveland without having a strong, powerful wide receiver one. But he's already started to get banged up. And as athletic as he is, he's not as solid of a blocker. And that will be the big transition. I've liked what I've seen in the transition so far with Adam Shaheen. And of the rookies, I think he's going to be better than Evan Ingram. I think he's going to be better than OJ Howard and better than David Njoku. Adam Shaheen out of the Bears.
All right.
Right there.
Take sip from beer.
I don't hate that at all. I think the thing is when it comes to specifically just looking long term, you could see, like, there's a path that we can see right now that we don't have to imagine all that hard, that the Buccaneers offense is just something that's incredibly dynamic for years to come. They've got all these young skill players like you just named off. They just picked up Godwin, got Howard, picked up McNichols, still have Doug Martin for a couple more years. They've still got Mike Evans, one of the top receivers in the league. You've got an offense that could legitimately be just absolutely amazing. So could it be a case where we're looking at the Buccaneers offense, maybe not quite in the same light as like a, I don't know, New England, where everybody's got a specific value somewhere. So I like Shaheen. I think he'll be fantastic in Chicago down the road. I love O.J. Howard long term. I think that is an offense that will be high flying. And like you were saying, if Jameis does get to heights of top 5, then that means that somebody's bringing him along, and it's not just Mike Evans. So I'm excited to see what that will look like down the road.
I do have to mention when Katie brought up Chris Godwin, I had the incredible opportunity to break down Godwin's game tape with an NFL analyst. We sat there for quite a few hours, went over some receivers, and Godwin was one of the guys. And my initial impression of Chris Godwin is he is such a receiver. He plays so clean and so sharp, and I think that's why he's so successful at making like extra contested catches, more so than we might see for other people. He's got great hands. Like he really knows how to play his position quite cleanly. So I remember Godwin being on my radar, and I am looking forward to how, if he makes the 53-man roster, like to how that translates in regular season play in the pros. So I am looking forward to that from him.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so Godwin and Howard both. I was just so bummed that that they landed where they did. It seemed like the Bucs offense was already, I don't know, okay enough with Brate and Djax as or the addition of Djax, and Brate was still doing his thing, and then you add 2 more guys like that. It was just good for Jameis for me. I mean, it's just it all now, no excuses, that's for sure. Awkward silence.
Oh no.
You're the point guard, dude. Come on. Distribute.
I'm actually really
start shotgunning beers.
I'm excited to watch the Bucs this year. I've always, even though he's a Syracuse rival and he's ACC, I've always actually really liked Jameis Winston, and I've loved his transition from college to the pros. I feel like there's been very few quarterbacks that have been able to grasp that and capitalize on it, and I think Jameis Winston has done an incredible job, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that team progresses and becomes more of a powerhouse. Maybe, hopefully it should, with what they've got, at least on offense. So I'm looking forward to watching that team, but I'm also I'm such an O.J. Howard fan, and it doesn't hurt that, of course, at the combine, one of the nicest guys. I love when they're nice. I love when they're well spoken. I love when they're articulate and they're polite. And when I'm in a sea of reporters and I'm barely hitting 5'2", and everyone else is up here with their phones in my face, I love the guys that can find me down there and give me a little bit of attention so I can ask the questions I need to ask. So I'm rooting for OJ just because he at least was a nice guy.
One last final funny story about O.J. Howard. When I was at the Senior Bowl, he was there. Evan Ingram was there. And they say it's a week-long job interview. You're always being watched. You're under a microscope, whether you know it or not. We were sitting in the stands, and there were coaches from every team all over the place. But towards the end of the week, one of the guys that I was hanging out with, he goes, I just ran into O.J. Howard and Evan Ingram in the men's room. And he goes, O.J. Howard didn't wash his hands. Evan Ingram did. And I was like, you know what that means? And he's like, what? It's like, they didn't teach him to piss on his hands in Alabama. It's like, he doesn't need to wash his hands. was just kind of funny.
That's amazing. That is some in-depth analysis right there.
There you go. That's right.
I love that.
I need to know how many times that he was shaking it. I need to know, just please.
Now that I didn't ask.
I don't think we need to know that. That to me.
TMI? I'm sorry.
Sorry, ladies' night. Sorry, I'm used to talking to a bunch of dudes and they're vulgar.
Hey. Don't even worry about it. That's not even remotely worth apologizing for, because trust me, if we weren't live and I wasn't in law school, we might be having a totally different conversation. So
we wouldn't be AFing all over the place.
Yeah. You think I dropped an AF in Northern Convo?
Yeah, you know that this is an explicitly rated podcast. We don't even have to say AF, but I understand that we have to tone back for I don't know, for whatever reason.
Decency's sake.
Yeah.
What the fuck for?
There it is. Someone did
there
it.
There it is.
There it is. You dropped it. Katie was the first one. Now we can follow suit.
Fans out there have been expecting that F-bomb at some point, so I might as well just
I actually had to tone back my textual F-bombs on Twitter just because, so now I say F-bomb emoji.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I'm not me without a fuck once in a while, but when I'm taking professional advice to tone back the F-bombs, I had to find the next alternative.
I gotta hold them in all day. Why the fuck do I want to hold them in at night? Right? Again, it's your turn. What?
While fucking drinking.
There you go.
Exactly. Gosh.
It is officially ladies' night. Yes.
That's the mark. That's the mark of ladies' night, when all the F-bombs start flying. Yeah.
This is definitely the highest F-bomb count in open bar history. That's a fact.
Well, there we go.
I mute to open my beer, but I unmute to say fuck. There you go.
I did.
So good ladies' night. Good ladies' night.
I love that. That's your quote of the night right there.
Exactly.
So Jen, I'm curious, as it pertains to with all the stuff coming out with Jordan Reed,
sure,
fracturing his foot. Are we nervous? Are we nervous about Jordan Reed at this point?
Nervous. I've been nervous about Reed forever. I want him to do well, but there's no way where he's going. I mean, I don't have to even look at his ADP. I know it's probably higher than I would risk with him. I think it's just unfortunate because Washington would do really well offensively this year, and with him intact, it would have been really great to watch. But I'm not going to have any shares of him because of where he's going and the price he's going at. To have that risk, he's made of glass. I just can't I just can't do it. I just can't invest it. It's sad to say because I think he's a great athlete, but when it comes up, I just shrug my shoulder. When he has another injury, I just shrug my shoulders and retweet it and say, "Here we go." Beware.
It's like death and taxes. It's inevitable. Everybody knows it. You might as well accept it. Yeah. I was happy to see, I don't know if you guys have seen the reports about Gronk, but Gronk has been, number one, giving up beer in season. Number two, he's been starting to follow the same diet as TB12, Tom Brady, the GOAT. Yes, I just said that. And so he's changing his diet. He's changing his ways a little bit in season because he realizes at 28 years old, he wants to extend his longevity. He wants to be known as more than just the party animal. And he very literally could lead the league in touchdowns this year if he stays healthy. I'm looking forward to a healthy Gronk.
Oh, you and me both.
That's going to happen.
Is it going to happen?
Say that again, Jen. What?
I said, is this the year? Is it going to happen?
It is. I will call it right now. A healthy Gronk this year in 2017.
Okay. Put it up there.
He needs the ring for this finger right here.
I told somebody recently, he said, I'm a top 10 pick in my fantasy draft. Bottom half of the 10, who would you tell me? Who would I pick? And I said, well, if you're in the bottom half of the top 10, I would go I would say you're safe with Edelman because Gronk can't stay healthy. And Edelman will seem to be Brady's target. And he said, no. What about,
Brandon Cooks. Don't forget Brandon Cooks.
But we haven't seen him play with the Patriots yet. Not the real Patriots.
Imagination.
I'm not talking preseason. I'm not using Bill Belichick is not an imagination kind of guy.
Why do you think they just signed him for nothing? Trust me.
Brandon Cooks. It's not for nothing, but I just hey, the undeniable chemistry between Brady and Edelman got them that miraculous 5th ring. So
I know.
I said, if you're really a pick 7 or 8, if he's still there, get Edelman because that's Brady's go-to guy right now, and we have no promises with Gronk's health.
So Katie, you're calling him being healthy, and we've got a fun chat going on on the live YouTube stream right now. If Gronk is going to play 16, you're saying he's going to play healthy 16. We'll even say 15 in case they're resting for week 16 for the playoffs.
No, I was going to – you're talking about just the fantasy season? He's going to be healthy all the way through playoffs
exactly.
Into the Super Bowl.
So that won't even matter. Exactly. So if he's healthy, are we saying over 12 touchdowns?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take the over on that. I'll take the over on that.
What if I got as ambitious as to say 15 touchdowns?
Oh, now you're going to –
Yeah, I'm getting crazy. Getting crazy now.
I would be crazy and take the over on that too.
Woo.
So if that's the case, he's certified stamped 2nd round pick, period.
Yes.
So wait, he scored more than 15 once, 2011. So you were going.
If
15.
he's healthy,
I
see no reason why he would not. If he's
12,
healthy,
I felt good about 12.
11, I am
12.
gonna now. If he's gonna bring me up a little higher, then I'm probably gonna take the under. But I think that's within the realm of possibility. I'm not drunk. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm a professional. I do this at home.
You shrugged off 12 way too easy, so I had to put it on you a little bit.
Well, because the 12 that's not even a benchmark. I mean, that's not the limbo stick has got to be low or high in this case, and I think 15 is doable.
Okay,
Lorna, what say you?
Am I crazy?
The feed is breaking up for me a little bit. What was the question?
Am I crazy?
Over under Gronk. Over under Gronk TDs this season. He stays healthy, right?
Okay.
15. Over under 15 TDs.
Under 15. Even healthy. Under 15.
All right.
I think he's more of a 9. 9.
Oh, I'll take that. Let's
no double digits.
I'm 11-12 right here.
Yeah, she's in the middle. Jen's in the middle.
I'm always in the middle. I'm like not rocking the boat too much.
Gabe, I think that for the 2nd week in a row, we've got an open bar challenge. We've got an open bar challenge. We got Lorna saying he's not getting the double digits, and Katie saying he's about to bust double digits square in the mouth.
Okay, and there's Jen in the middle. Now we can have this go couple different ways. We can have you guys bet on which one of us 3 you think is correct, and you guys can have the bet, or you can make it a bet between the 3 of us somehow, like an Abby bet or something, or whatever.
The boys bet. I like the
boys get to bet. Which girl do you think
the boys bet on us?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
The boys got to bet. Who's your horse?
So, where do you put your chips? Okay, let's go.
So Katie's at 15. Jen, where are you at?
I'll take the 15.
I'm at 11-12.
Jen's at 11.
She's in between. She gets all the in between. You get between the 9 and 15 because Lorna said no more than 9.
Lorna said 9. I'm not sure if Lorna, because she said it was breaking up. I'm still not entirely sure if she was breaking up and heard, like, how do you rank Gronk on a 1 to 10 scale of like sexiness? I wasn't sure if
he thinks you're way too low, Lorna. He's dissing you.
I'm going with 9. I'm going with single digits. Katie's going with 15, and Jen is right in the middle. So that's where we are. That's.
I'm I can't believe he went up to 15. I'm probably.
Can
I
I
have
give
to.
you a little bit more enticement to bet for me?
Yeah.
There's no LeGarrette Blount. Do you really think that Rex Burkhead or Mike Gillislee or James White or any of the New England backfield is going to be the guy that's going to bring it in to the end zone? If Gronk is healthy, Brandon Cooks is going to get him down to the 2-yard line, and Gronk's going to get.
Oh, we lost Katie.
Oh
No, we did.
Oh, look, she's like mid.
like,
I'm making a point. I'm about to drop the mic.
Campaign there.
Mid, you got
better,
third.
She's so in it. Oh, I feel bad. It just
better
it
take
cut
a
out.
picture of that one.
I know,
What a
right?
bummer.
That's funny.
Oh, she is so fired up right there. Here we go. I'm literally taking
Yeah,
it.
she really is.
Please do.
Bam.
Yep, so am I.
Oh, Katie,
I can't
poor
take
thing.
this
Okay.
Screenshot. All right, good.
Everybody's
You
getting
got one.
pictures.
We'll be good. Anyways, so I don't know. I to answer your question, Katie, I think that the Patriots running backs have always had, well, not always, but they've consistently had a guy that is getting those double-digit touchdowns, and just pounding them in. Just no like guy that's carrying the workload necessarily, but always getting a lot of touchdowns. So yeah, I think there is a guy that can possibly get upwards of double-digit touchdowns. I think I have a bet with someone already about Mike Gillislee getting double-digit, like 10 or 11 touchdowns. So I'm already there with Mike Gillislee, and I have to own that.
Wait, you're on the side of saying he's going to get those, Gillislee. You're on that side, or were you on the other side of the bet if he won't get it? Okay, double-digit.
Gillislee getting 10. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
It was before the hamstring. Okay, it was before the hamstring.
Did you like make a little spin wheel and just like spin it, and then you're like Gillislee, double digit? I'm just curious. I'm just saying.
I know that's fair.
You got White up there, you got Lewis up there, you got Burkhead there. It's just kind of like.
I think. Well, for one, I think Lewis. I don't think Lewis is going to be involved, potentially even on the team. I mean, he might stick around. I think he played a lot in game 2 of the preseason, which was really fucking weird. I think they were kind of showcasing him a little bit to potentially do some sort of trade.
Or to see if he's got anything, left that they could use, but I don't know why. Right. I mean, with White and Burkhead.
Exactly. Yeah. They're testing him out. Yeah. And you're right that it is a shit show always with the running backs on the Patriots. And White is the trusted guy in the passing game. Yeah, that's his thing. That's not really going to be Gillislee. That wasn't Blunt's role last year either. Gillislee's mostly an up and down runner. He's a little bit more shifty than Blunt, and I'll say mildly more athletic than Blunt, but not incredibly. And as far as Burkhead, I like him too, and that's my biggest issue is Burkhead. Burkhead can definitely jump in and take a lot of those touches. So if anyone's going to ruin it, I think it's Burkhead. I don't necessarily think it's Gronk, because they always have they are focused on the running game quite surprisingly. So I think they're going to have someone that is somewhere between 8 and 12 touchdowns is a fair guess for me, in my opinion.
Lorna, I think that for whatever reason, if Gronk was to get hurt, I could see him landing on 9 or less. But in this instance, I'm riding with Jen. I think 12 is the magic number, and I think that he makes a whole lot of fantasy players incredibly excited. I will say this, if he does do what Katie says and he's scoring 15, 16 plus touchdowns, then that means Brady's about to – what year was that where he lost his mind with Moss and everybody? Like, he's just about to go be on a big FU tour, the AF tour.
Last year was Brady.
I love it.
As 12 is obviously the magic fucking number for New England. But I just don't know that what they accomplished last season without Gronk and with what they have picked up and added to the roster this year, I don't see Bill Belichick, targeting Gronk enough to get him 15 plus touchdowns. Belichick does not strike me as that kind of a coach that he's really going to spread it around because he wants to succeed, and he does not want one of the best receivers, happens to be a tight end, on his roster being, targeted way too much, because then that leads to double coverage, that leads to injuries, or at least more potential for injuries. So I don't see Gronk getting the targets that he needs and the opportunities that he needs to hit 15 touchdowns this season.
Yeah. And real quick, shout out to Travis on the YouTube chat. He's on Twitter at Travis NFL with the note there of it was 2007 when Brady lost his mind. But Katie, while you were gone,
so what was the end result of the bet?
Katie's back with us, so thank you for coming back with us, Katie. So Gabe has everyone on the Patriots scoring 10 touchdowns.
What the fuck ever?
Every single skill player scoring 10 touchdowns.
Hey, that works for me.
Yeah, the Patriots.
What was your official? Where was your official landing spot, Gabe, with the Gronk?
Well, it's a difficult.
Who'd you go with?
I don't know, bet to assess. Since I would have gone with Jen, but I have to go some sort of contrarian to you, J. Mike, and I either basically have to go 9 or 15, and I'm more of a believer than less of a believer. So, Katie,
went with
I'm
me.
with you. Yep.
Bam.
All right.
So,
and then J. Mike, did you go with Lorna?
I went with Jen. I'm with Jen. I think the number's about 12. It's about 12. So Lorna's on the single digit island by herself.
I am.
We'll find someone for you, Lorna. We'll tweet it out. We'll find someone for you.
Tyler Gunther can.
Me and my wine. We're okay over here.
Introducing Lorna as the new Bachelorette.
There it is.
Yeah, nice.
Lorna's the new Bachelorette. I love it.
Yeah, no. I'm a terrible Bachelorette. Do you know why? Because every conversation will start and end at, so who's your team? Depending on the answer, right. The conversation's over.
So how do you feel about the spread offense taking over the NFL? Spread what? Conversation over. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Yeah, basically. I weed potential suitors out based on who they like. And it gets really shady when we get into NCAA, because if I hear Georgetown, Duke, UConn, anyone else in the ACC ever, except for UNC, because I have a lot of respect for Roy Williams, no, not doing it, not happening, lose my number, have a nice day.
Everybody's got a line. That's right.
And there you go.
That's it.
Lose my number quick AF.
She did just tell them all you out there that actually like those teams, don't ever mention it if you want a shot.
There you
so
go.
she's trying to give you a guide there to shut your mouth if you want a chance. Yay.
Fake it. Just go along. Fake it till you make it.
The one player on the Cowboys that went to UConn, he won't call me my real name. He calls me Syracuse with this disdain in his voice when he says it. And I'm like, yeah, like that time we beat you in 6 overtimes at the Garden. Yeah, that's it, UConn.
I love that game.
I truly cannot get along with anybody who went to the school.
Your name could be Sarah.
Wait, I missed the whole thing. My connection got blurry. What did you say?
I said your name actually could be Sarah Cuse.
I halfway joked that one day when my husband's out of the room and our daughter's just been boring, I'm telling them to put Sarah as the first name and Cuse as the middle name.
That's great.
He can't protest. He won't be present. My kid's name is going to be Syracuse.
There you go. That's awesome.
Facts of life.
And if it's a boy, his name's going to be
instead of pink or blue, it's going to be orange.
That's right.
Bayhigh. Oh man.
Could you imagine meeting somebody? Hey, nice to meet you. What's your name? Yeah, my name's Bayheim. That's.
Oh, Oh, okay then. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
Right.
You stay here in Bayheim. I'm gonna go.
This is why I can't have nice things, guys.
He's my bae.
This is
Exactly.
really.
That's what I was thinking, Katie.
This
Yeah,
is really
you guys
why
my
I'm
bae.
single, but it's okay.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh man.
Well, that was a great tangent.
To dating somehow. We've gotten to dating.
Don't even remember where that's
Where we went that way. But.
Neither do I.
Yeah. The Patriots are going to score a lot of touchdowns.
There you go.
fact.
Yes.
Lorna drinks a lot
50
of wine.
gazillion
She does.
touchdowns.
Gazillion touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of wine.
Yeah. I don't know. So week 3 of preseason, we can kind of end on this. This is where we're finally going to see the starters kind of play for the first half or maybe more.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I'm pretty pumped. There's a few worth mentioning, I guess, that are starting. Chad Henne for one. The future.
Boy, yeah, that's a big one. That's
HOF QB. So
That's a little
Huge impact. Huge impact.
Yes, Michigan HOF. not NFL HOF. Michigan
yeah, I was going to
HOF.
say that's a little premature for an NFL
I think
prediction.
it's Hall of Fallers. I think
There you go.
may be
There you
correct.
go.
there we go. Yeah.
Every time I watch them,
Yeah.
I just feel bad for Allen Robinson. I just
I
feel
do.
worse
Oh,
and
my
worse and
goodness.
worse for
Yes.
him. That's it.
Keep the
That's
ball in fucking bounds, bro. God.
Keep
Yeah.
it off
Playing that
his
over my
feet.
head.
His feet are nice, but his hands are what catches the ball.
Yeah.
Unless you're Terrence Williams, in fact, your chest plate is what catches the ball. If
Oh man.
you're lucky.
Yeah.
And when you said stay in fucking bounds, bro, I just had PTSD to week 1 of last year. But
When he did actually stay in fucking
No,
bounds, bro,
not.
and
He's
didn't
not.
go out of
No, he
bounds.
stayed in bounds. Should have gone out.
Right.
Okay, so I have to say.
Uh-oh, here we go. Buckle up.
Yep. Week 1 of last year was the very first regular season game that I ever missed. Ever. And I happened to be, the reason why is I was at the Miss Rhode Island USA pageant supporting my best friend in the world. She's such a best friend. I went to a pageant when everyone else is in formal wear and I was wearing a Zeke Elliott jersey over my dress, over my cocktail
Were
dress.
you showing your abs? Were you showing your abs?
Yeah.
That would have been
No,
ridiculously cool.
Wait,
Oh,
first of all, there are no abs to show,
Okay.
but no, I had on a cocktail dress and I put on my Zeke Elliott jersey over it because it's game day. I can't not wear my jersey on game day. But anyway, I was in this pageant and I had full intentions of streaming it on my phone, but there was 0 reception. I mean, none. I could not even get a text out. And I sat there and I cried because I had never missed a game before. And there it was, and I missed it, and I had to hear it on the radio, and I had to hear the highlights, or rather the lowlights. And I was just so upset. But after that, I went on a season-long campaign to pardon Terrence Williams because even though he made that one freaking mistake that screwed us in that one game, it was like, come on, he's a great blocker. Terrence Williams is unappreciated for his blocking and for the fact that he makes opportunities available for the other receiving targets. So I'm okay with the body catcher. I love him. Want to keep him. Like I do, but
as soon as blocking becomes a fantasy football stat, I will fall more in love with Terrence Williams. But until that point,
oh no,
dude is dead to me.
Do not draft him for fantasy. I love him to death. Don't draft him for fantasy. I would never. You couldn't pay me to do it. Not a fantasy player. Great in real life, not a fantasy player.
Does he like Duke or UConn or UNC? Or is he
no, he went to Baylor. He's a Big 12 guy.
I know that.
So
I know that. But does he like?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Okay.
And if I find out he does, we'll have another conversation another day. But
he probably likes Duke.
Okay.
He probably likes Duke, and it's just get him out.
Not.
He's a closet Duke.
No, can't. I'm not going to impute that on one of my Cowboys. Byron Jones is the only one that gets a pass for being the UConn player, and it's taken me years to be okay with it.
Don't you put that even on me, Ricky Bobby.
Chew Big Red or fuck you.
I love it.
Now we're talking about which college that Terrence Williams is a fan of. So we're really hitting the hot spots.
Terrence the body catcher Williams.
Hold on, let me try to find out. Hold on. Keep going. Move on. Let me see if I can find out.
Okay. Love it. Parting words on DeShone Kizer. I think he's been one of the most popular QBs, and now he's getting a chance to start. Looks like they're putting out Osweiler or putting him on the trade block or whatever. I don't know if they're trying to sell him for Chex Mix or something, but we'll see what happens. DeShone Kizer, though, what thoughts? Jen, what do you think?
I thought he looked solid. And it pains me being the Pittsburgh Steelers fan that I am and in the division that I am, and to watch the Browns the way that I do and to feel the way that I do about them. To say that I think he was a good move. I'm not saying this year. I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. I think they'll probably give him opportunities. He'll probably win the job in the way that I've seen it, maybe by the end of season. I think they're up and coming. I think they're going to win more than one game. We might put them in the 5-6 game range this season.
The Jets and the Bills having a dumpster fire. I think that's
right?
pretty
Watch
safe.
the Bills.
Yeah.
Watch the Bills, and the Browns are you're gonna be like, oh man, the Browns look a little bit better. But I mean, from what I've seen from Kizer, I thought, okay, there's at least potential. And so if they stick with the team and build that chemistry, I think it could be good. I mean, Kenny Britt might be somebody that you're not really paying a lot for this year, that is lower in the draft rounds, and you could snag him as a flyer. And I think he might get you, especially at the level of investment. I mean, he'd be somebody I would definitely throw a pick at. If you're looking at late round people that could make a difference and has got some, upside, I would snag him. So it's not all for naught as far as the Browns offense. And I think Kizer is probably their future if they keep him and they don't do something stupid, which I can't ever guarantee with the Browns.
Katie, I couldn't agree more.
Katie,
I agree about the
Kizer
Britt statement. I liked Kizer going into Superflex drafts where you can start two quarterbacks. I had him as the bargain of the 4, and Watson was going too high. I thought Trubisky was going too high. I thought Kizer was the best value with as much potential, if not more, with his athleticism, his size, his vision. But I've been impressed with all the rookie quarterbacks, to be honest. I love Patrick Mahomes. And I love his arm and his side. His father, this kid knows how to work because he comes from a father who was a professional baseball player. Watson is just a winner. He may not have the arm and he may not have the accuracy, but he is a gutsy, and I think Houston is a good fit for him. I really was comparing Mitch Trubisky to Mark Sanchez earlier because of just the number of games he played in college. We had no real resume from him, but I've been so impressed with this guy during the preseason. He's so poised, and I know he's playing against the threes, but the dude looks the part. And for him to scramble the way that he does and hit the money with the football right on target on the move, you can move that to the 2s and the 1s and be successful. And they need the quarterback. So I really like all 4, but I've always liked DeShone Kizer, and I'm the kid. Mm-hmm. And I agree that Kenny Britt is absolutely a value. Look what he did with Jared Goff. He had over 1,000 yards, and he's been in the league for 50 years. He's only 7 years old.
I know, right? If he can do that, right, last year, he's definitely got a shot to do. I mean, if you're at the end, and we're all right, we're all looking at upside when you're at the end. You're throwing at flyers. You're trying to find people that are going to be lottery tickets or backups that are going to get an opportunity as a starter. And so, Kenny Britt, I would definitely throw one at him. So
every single best ball draft, drafting Kenny Britt, and he's there in like 10th or 11th rounds. Like, okay. Sure.
Well, I think people are still the mindset, I don't want anything to do with the Browns. You know, I just don't want to get, especially passing game. And I think they're overlooking some fantasy players that could be, they just have a lot of upside and you're not paying anything for them. So
I agree.
Well,
Lorna?
the last time I saw DeShone Kizer, he was ripping apart Syracuse at MetLife. Great tickets to that game. I was on the field to watch that destruction firsthand. But at any rate, one thing about DeShone Kizer that I have to say is if we're talking about a quarterback that's poised in the pocket, the last time we heard that about a quarterback, he ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I don't, you know, we played Notre Dame, whatever, but I've never had an issue with Notre Dame. I think they're a storied football program for a reason. I mean, we've got Jaylon Smith. I love him. And I think DeShone Kizer takes – he's a very studious football player. I think he takes the study of football very seriously. And I've seen that from watching the few college games that I have, some just on TV and some in person, very, you know, depressingly because it was my team. But I think he's done a very good job, and it would not shock me to see him starting for the Browns in the regular season. So I'm not opposed to DeShone Kizer, but I don't know that I would draft him. I don't know that I would want him on my fantasy team, but also at the same time, this time last year, I don't know that I would have wanted Dak on my team either. It all depends. As they say, the Browns are going to Brown. That could happen. The Browns could end up just doing what they do. And the last time they had a really good quarterback, I mean, well, I don't know that they're responsible for Manziel's issues, but I don't know that I trust the Browns as a front office and as an organization and as a coaching staff to do the right things with the players that they have. But I do think DeShone Kizer is a great player, and we'll see maybe a few weeks into the season if he's still available and worth picking up for the bench.
For the one Cleveland Brown fan out there that still believes, I will attest to, at the Senior Bowl, they had the Bears coaching staff and they had the Browns coaching staff. And I was much more impressed with the Browns coaching staff, the way they ran the practice, the drills that they had, the tempo that they had, the interviews with the staff. Those guys, I think, have it going on. And I think that we are seeing the emergence of the Browns for the first time in a long time. They've got the draft picks. They've got the coaching staff. Give them a little bit of time, and I think that they will set this program right finally. They're still not going to beat the Patriots, but I'm just saying they're finally going to start not being the basement dwellers that they've been.
Tim Torch, I hope you're watching. This is that was your glimmer of hope, sir. Good for you.
He's heard me say it before.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's hard to admit, but you have to look at the division too, right? I mean, Steelers fan as I am, Big Ben does not have much time left, right? I mean, I hope that he even makes it through this season. So you have to look at the division and kind of feel it out next year or two, what's going to happen. And if they play their cards right, and they're definitely not going to be as bad as they've been. They're they can be better.
Steelers fan, are you concerned at all with these new reports about Le'Veon Bell knocking up a Rams cheerleader and his contract negotiations aren't over yet? How concerned should we be about Le'Veon Bell fantasy-wise?
I don't think you should be concerned at all. I think he's going to come back probably next week sometime. He's going to go right back into his swing of things, into this offense, and he's going to be there week one rocking your socks off. I think people want a story. And noted that it's not like there's nothing there. I get it. You know, training camp, you build chemistry, you're there, you're working with, but we got to get a good look at Connor. We got to see, what Toussaint's made of. And no, I'm not worried at all. I would take him.
Follow-up question. Connor, I can't believe I forgot about him.
I love James
What
Conner.
do you think about Connor? Because he was my very first the very first player that I asked a question of at the combine in my media interview. And the question I asked him, with his response to it has been quoted a million times, because I asked him, do you feel you have an advantage over everybody else because of you overcoming cancer? Do you have a tenacity that nobody else can understand? And I'm in love with him. Like, he's so incredibly humble, and he's so genuine. I mean, he ain't hard to look at, like, to be honest.
And he's big AF.
Right? But I'm just
on
saying,
a scale from 1 to Gronk, though, like, what is he?
He's got a nice steak ass, I will admit that. Definitely has a steak
if you're
ass.
asking me to, like, attractiveness wise put him up to Gronk, Connor's on a level Gronk.
Night.
Oh.
But because James Conner is just like, he's so nice, and he just seems so sweet, and, like, to me, like, that's just so magnetic. But, like, that is the attractive thing about him. But I've been rooting for him because, you know, he's Pitt, he's ACC, like, and you can't, but like the Jaylon Smith thing, like I said when we first started, how can you not love that person that's overcome so much? So as a Pittsburgh fan, objectively, how do you feel about Connor?
Oh, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Objectively, I think that's what everybody's gonna have a hard time. Everybody loves him, and we're all on board. In my opinion, right? If you watched preseason this week, he gets the job done. I wouldn't say there was anything that jumped off the tape for me this last week, but he got almost 100 yards. He did what he needed to do, like 20 carries or something like that, and 98 yards if I'm just off the cuff.
That's great.
But and so he's going to get the job done. Right now they're saying he's behind Tucson on the depth chart. In my opinion, he's going to win the backup job for Le'Veon Bell. And anything happens, I would feel confident that he could step into that role. I think it's a good offense, and they're going to groom him. I think Pittsburgh fans love him. We'd love to see him stay. And who best to kind of be there and show him the way than, you know, one of the greatest, awesomest running backs of all time. Somebody needs to take it from me, because now I'm just going to go on and on about my Steelers. And before you know it, I'm going to be talking about how Dez Bryant is going to be like top 15 wide receiver fantasy, and like Antonio Brown, and, you know, somebody else has to talk about Connor.
You guys have Shamarko Thomas. He's Syracuse. I'm okay with it. I'm behind it.
Okay. So basically, I see a lot of potential in Connor. I like him. I think he has a place on this team, and I hope that we keep him. And I think he's going to get the backup job, in my opinion. Good. And something happens. I don't even want to talk about it. To Bell this season, I think he could step in, and he could be our guy. That's all I'm saying.
Awesome. Right on. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Other people have like, anybody feel differently about Connor?
I agree 100%, and I'm a non-biased. I don't even like the Steelers.
I hate credibility, Katie. I'm like, oh man, I'm being a homer.
I hate the Steelers, and I love James Conner, and I think that he absolutely 100%, unequivocally, if Le'Veon Bell were to have something happen, and I don't think you can get banned for knocking someone up, but I unequivocally think that he can take the job.
Be careful, Roger Goodell's on this weird.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, he is about to sign another 5-year fucking contract. We do not need Goodell in the NFL. Just get rid of him. He is
we already
worse.
Did that.
Worse.
He's already signed on to 2024.
Are those guys absolutely crazy? And the next collective bargaining isn't even for until what, 2022 or something like that. It's like,
I know.
Chains.
Okay. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
What do you guys think?
Lamaze for football. Deep breath. Relax. Push now. Push. Go ahead. Push.
I'm just laughing, man. J Mike and I are about to leave, and we're gonna go like FaceTime each other and just have our own conversation and just let y'all have this.
The girls still
good.
We still got beer. We still got time.
This is the unspoken consequence of having a ladies' night. You forget we know how to talk.
I know. I didn't want to go there. But it's true.
Chatty Cathy.
That's it.
Yeah, it's hard to reel it in.
What do you guys think? You know, Gabe and And John, what do y'all think about Goodell? Can we say that? Are we comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, no, he's the fucking worst. I despise Goodell. I think he's a money-hungry piece of shit and just doesn't care for anything about the players, doesn't care about their well-being. There's just an ongoing list of things that are so bad about him. And I mean, just comparing like salaries for NFL players versus MLB or NBA players is just atrocious. I mean, what they get paid for basically ruining their brains is just, I don't know. You could go on for hours about what kind of human he is. I'm not impressed.
He's a douche with a capital D.
Yep. AF.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now we got a new song. That's right.
we got to change the name of the pod to Open Bar AF.
Yep, I think it is this week.
Or Happy Hour AF.
Happy Hour AF.
I'm happy. You guys, how you guys feel?
There you go.
I'm great.
That was good.
Okay. But really, Tyler is going to kill us. We're like, I don't know what time. We're a little over. We're having fun. It's good. It has been fun. We can keep it going off air if need be, but we'll have to shut it down, give our plugs, and until next time. I'm sure it will happen next time, or I hope it happens next time, because this was a blast. I think this was definitely right up there with the LFO episode. I don't know if y'all heard, but we scooped up LFO, no
I'm
big
gonna have to
deal.
go back and watch that and listen to that. Sorry.
I mean, I'm a little older than most, but LFO, the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were here. They love fantasy football. They're cool, awesome dudes.
Right on. I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so LFO really is somebody. They're.
Oh my God. So one of the reasons why
Katie. Oh man.
Sorry. The people I do is because I do this weird thing where I do these Snapchat music videos every day, and people have taken notice and been like, "Oh, that's weird you do that, but that's funny. I like that song. It's only 20 years old." And I say, "I know. That's why I do this, to put people onto old music." And one of the songs I did was the "Girl on TV" by LFO. Yeah. Yes, nice. It's funny. I just do these little lip sync music videos, and people love them because I remind them of music they forgot is actually good compared to the shit you hear today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I grew up when music was good.
I'm too old to enjoy the shit that gets played on the radio today.
Okay, Lorna, calm down. give your remember, we're closing out. Give your plugs. We're saying goodbye. You don't have to say goodbye to the wine. We just have to say goodbye to the open bar.
Well, the wine's going to go soon, but thank you guys for having me. This was the best time I could have possibly had since coming back to Boston, and probably the best time I'll have until I leave here. But follow me at mighty_LR. That's mighty like the mouse, because I'm small but mighty. And if you are super into fantasy football, make sure you follow the National Fantasy Football Convention at GoNFFC. I run the Twitter, so you get your double dose of snarky, sassy, fun football takes.
Syracuse takes.
And that too. That as well. That as well. Do not follow me if you're a Georgetown, Duke, UConn, or ACC fan.
Oh, man. I love it.
That's great.
Okay.
That's great.
Katie, you're up next.
All right. Just again, I chat with these ladies. We have our own ladies chat. We do some MFL 10s together. We're in various leagues together, and I'm more of a dynasty player now. I do some redraft, but you can follow me on Twitter at FF_Skylar399. And it was a pleasure to meet you guys, Jennifer and Lorna, in person. And I hope that we, during my travels, I do a lot of travels for work. If I'm ever in your home city, I will hit you up. And if you're ever in Dallas, let me know if I'm home, Mikasa at Sukasa. And Gabe and John, you guys have been great. I really, really appreciate it. For anybody that really likes Dynasty Fantasy Football, I write for and I'm on the weekly podcast at Under the Helmet. That's uthdynasty.com.
Great work. Great work with the Debbies and such at UTH.
Thank you.
Always been one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. One of the first Dynasty podcasts I ever listened to. And you weren't a host at that time, but I remember you were a guest. And I remember that specifically, and I was just like so blown away. So yeah, always been a fan and happy to have you for sure.
Thank you very much.
Jen.
I'm good at the self plugs. This has just been a really good time. I always get a little nervous coming on to pods. It's been a while since I had done a pod just this season. I used to do it back with the boys at TFA, but I stepped away a little bit last season. And so to come back and this to be sort of how I start this fantasy season has been a pleasure. It's like, just like Katie said, we're in a chat together. And so we kind of group together and interact and chat all the time, but to meet and to kind of talk football live and for you guys to have us on, it's just been super fun, for lack of a better word. Football, beer, and good conversation and good company. I mean, give me that any day of the week. So I'm really excited to start the year that way. You can follow me at FF_female920 on Twitter, and I write for the Fantasy Authority. We call it TFA. And if you ever, I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. They're the best bunch of people over there that I mean, they're just a great group. All of us want to just be part of the community and to give you the best content that we possibly can. Some of the best guys I've met in the fantasy community over there. So if you can check us out, head over to the website and read some of our stuff and follow some of the guys. But it's just been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Gabe. Thank you so much, Jay. This has been it's been great. So.
Hey, no, thank you, Jen, seriously, for coming on and scooping up Lorna, you and Katie. You came into the clutch right there.
Lorna.
So it was good.
Clutch, Jen.
Good.
Yeah, you did us a favor.
On the TFA crew.
Oh no, y'all did me a favor by throwing it out there. I love this. This is what I live for. I mean, I live in Boston. 90% of the people I can talk football with, they're only Patriots fans. I like talking with football fans.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like the difference. Oh, yeah. I love it.
He knows exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. I love this. I would do this all the time if I had the opportunity to do so. And especially with not to specify it, but especially with women and men, it's wonderful to see people respecting us for our opinions and not necessarily taking into consideration our genitalia. So hey,
look, we won.
Katie and Jen have had far better football insight than 90% of the men that I've dealt with that are professionals in this industry, that are the people you tune into your TV and watch. Y'all are great. This has been wonderful.
You're awesome.
Yes.
So, and I think you're speaking to exactly why I love fantasy, right? Is that we all have our teams and we have our allegiances, right? But fantasy football lets us talk about different players, talk about their skill level, talk about different teams, and be able to just interact and discuss on a different level than you can with just, yeah, go Steelers, I love my guys. You can talk and invest in other players and get to know the game more. I mean, college all the way up. So it really is just fun to be around a group of people that do that pretty naturally and for fun. So it's really great.
And I have one last question. So what was the bet? I know who you bet on, but what was the terms of the bet?
What are the stakes?
Yes, exactly.
Whatever you want, J Mike.
Oh,
Whoa.
you may have to take this off air and then post it later.
Probably so. That's probably gonna have to be the case.
Twitter vote. Twitter vote.
Yeah,
We will remind you. We will remind you.
we're gonna have to put this out to the masses when the show drops.
There you go.
When we actually get it published.
All right.
J Mike, what do you got, man? Give yourself some plugs.
First of all, America, all the listeners, you're welcome. This has been one of my favorite episodes that we've done. My goodness, this has been a ton of fun, like everybody said. So on Twitter at JMikeCheck, JMIC check. Again, I'm happy to be here, and this has been good. So week 3's here. Hopefully, we don't have anything crazy like Jordy getting hurt last year in week 3 or something crazy. So hopefully, we're wishing best of health, knock on wood, to everyone coming up. And yeah, I'm excited to get this thing underway.
You just injured so many ACLs.
I know.
It's like, I can't believe you just said that. You don't talk about a no-hitter. You don't talk about a no-hitter in the middle of the game.
When Jordy went
We
down,
gotta
I knew
get it
the
out
exact
there.
moment
No.
it happened.
we got to get it out there. If I held on to it, real quick, Gabe. I'll make this 30 seconds or less. We've got in our private chat that we've got going with just folks who help out at Dynasty Happy Hour. Like there was about a 2-week span where every time we talk about someone, the very next day there was bad news about something. So the Flacco getting hurt, Ryan Tannehill getting hurt, literally the day before we were talking about those two offenses in our chat. So basically, if I put it out there and don't leave it contained to our private chat, maybe that'll help. So just hope.
Wow.
I don't feel good right now.
So many players.
It's already out there.
Take those names out your mouth, bro.
Dak Prescott.
Oh!
Look at that.
I think we're having technical difficulties. With
What about
Mike.
that?
Yeah. Damn.
This part will get edited out.
Yeah.
Yeah, edit out the part where you coughed on Dak's name.
No, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
As far as injury or like witchcraft kind of stuff, I swear my SFB team is just like the pinnacle of that. It's just no matter who I drafted is down. Anunwa and Zeke with the suspension, and Fournette had the ankle injury, and I have Andrew Luck. It's just like complete turmoil. So it's real. It's preseason and we're sweating. As far as me, I'm at Grab Bag Fantasy. I do my own Grab Bag Fantasy podcast. I bring on, a specific team and bring on a co-host, and we analyze the team and break it down. It's super fun. I like doing that, but I need people to get on it. So if you've got a team, come on. I'll get Jen on. You want Jen? You got Jen. You want J Mike on? Guess what? You got J Mike.
Yeah.
What you got a Debbie team that you want Katie to talk about? Well, guess what? You got a team full of Syracuse players. I got my girl right here.
or a Cowboys show, right? I mean, she's got some knowledge. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Because I think you guys are so knowledgeable. Yeah. I've learned from listening to you guys tonight, for sure.
Yeah, agreed on everyone. A lot of the things you said, Lauren, you had some really like interview type stuff, in-depth stuff. I was like, I know, right? And then Katie's talking about how OJ shakes it in the bathroom. It's like,
we got the intel, man.
Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment on this show. I love it.
So you're playing with yourself. Get out of there.
That's right. Okay. Well, from the Dynasty Happy Hour Open Bar, we're here every Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern. Check us out. It's the Dynasty Happy Hour Podcast Network. That's where you can find it underneath in that feed. Until then, cheers, ladies. Thanks for coming on. I'm all empty, but we do this corny thing where we cheers to the camera and then we say deuces.
Deuces.